left it for about 5 minutes, and actually in the meantime I took the liberty of doing another couple of edges. So I'm not going to do this one. This one is quite fiddly around here. So I want to do the main edges first, and then we'll come back later and do these fiddly bits. So I've already prepped the glue on all the other surfaces and along the edges, so let's stick them down. Let's right, I'm going to sit down for a minute. There we go. Right, start here, and literally I want to fold it over, right, and work my way to the end. Yep. Make sure I've got it right, nice and neat on the edge here, and give it a good bit of a pressure along the edge to make sure it takes. There we are. There's that one. Right. Now we'll work our way around. Do this corner bit. Pull it tight. There we go. Look at that. And there we are. A bit of pressure for a moment, so she takes well. Okay, that should be alright. Now you might need scissors soon. And again, give it a bit of a pull, and all that, there we go. And press it down, there we go. No less. And just give the fabric a bit of a pull on the edges because you want it nice and tight around these corners. There we go. Press it all on the edges like that because you want it nice. You want it to take along the edges. There we go. Up along here. And be a bit gently because don't forget there's contours and you don't want to introduce any wrinkles at this stage. So just slowly work it around. Right. There we go. Bear in mind it gets rather tacky, as I said. Right, keep working our way around. We've got this bit again. Pull it nice and tight. So get it over the edge. There we go. Right. And just work it over like that. Right. Same again. Work it over the edge. And work it into the corner. There we go. So that it takes quite nicely on that. Okay, keep working working around. Now, over to this piece, pull it tight, and around. There we go. Can actually trim a bit of that off, quite a bit there. Get rid of some of that. There we go. There you are. We'll worry about this bit after. This gets a bit fiddly, so we'll come back to that. Work our way along this piece. Starting over here. Alright, here we go. I've already put adhesive on the other side of that, so I want the fabric to go along, up, over, like that. Okay, and then around that piece there. Just give it a pinch so it takes on the adhesive. There we go. Just hold it for a couple of seconds while it takes. Okay, in the corner. Again, right. Same in the corner again. And there you are, it's starting to take shape quite nicely. Okay. What we can do as well, be careful, and in here, this groove, we just want to cut a slot, get our scissors in there. Not very big, just big enough to get your scissors in through that. There we go. Because we want to cut diagonals on this so we can fold this over the edges. There we go, like this. Not too far into the corners. Say about there, like that. You don't want to go too far in. And the same this way. Like that, because that is going to fold over there. That will fold over there, that will fold over there. Yeah. Don't go too far because you have a little ridge to worry about, so if you cut too far it will show on the other side on those little ridges. Alright, and then we just got to pull them over. When we do that, we also have to take into account the groove that's in there. Alright, so this one gets a bit tricky. What we want to do, put glue around the sides, but also a little bit on the ridge all around. Alright, this gets a little bit tricky, this one. So one of the things you can do to help is to clean your applicator and clean it off, and it just makes life a bit easier once it's cleaned of all the old glue. So all I do is get one of these and just give it a, just literally scrape it off. It will make a world of difference when you do that, especially for this bit. It's good to do it while it's not totally set off the applicator. Just come, as you can see, it just comes off so much easier than when it's set. The right pain to get off otherwise. There we go. Get that out of the way. And what a difference. Now that will make it easier to work in those edges. So just makes it that much easier. It's not all clogged with glue. Alright. Right. Here goes. So I want to get some along the edges. Both of the edges of the applicator. It becomes quite a pain, this. And literally stick it under the edge to get some adhesive in there. Like that. Don't be shy. Get it in there. Terrible stuff to work with, as I said. Lots of. Anyway, get it in there. Right. Now we also. Oh, hang on a minute. I've just gone and got it all over my fingers. Don't want that whilst we're handling this fabric. Make sure to clean it off and clean the applicator actually. Get it off and start again. There we are. Okay. Now, got to put some around these edges. And we're going to do the same thing. Put some around the edges and let it sit for about 5-10 minutes before we stick that down. Don't be shy. Get it around there. There we go. Alright, and a little bit over the edge, like that, so the fabric will come over it. There we have it. Right. So I'll let this set and get tacky for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Might let it go a little bit longer because being a little opening there, we really want it to stick. So I want it to be nice and tacky. And so about 10 minutes I'll be back. Alright, we're back. Have let it get nice and tacky around there, so let's stick those corners on, and that's it for today. We're going to leave the bottom section for another day. for tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Let this sit overnight. Once we've gone this far. So just simply pull it through. Just get hold of it, pull it through, and wrap it nice and tight over the edge. Push it down. Do that all the way around. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. And just give it a little bit of a, not too much, cut in there. So we get closer to the edge. There we go. Same this end. Not too far, just to allow it. Right, there we go. To come right to the edge. Stick her over. Push down on it. Trim that off there. Don't need that bit. That's a bit too much. Right. Don't need that bit. There we go. Right, now what we need to do is on this side, remember on the trim there's like a little ridge around there, we need to press in there with your fingers, and I just run my fingers around the edge. You'll feel it with your fingers because that's where your interior light is going to go, so you want to press that down in there. Okay. And then we're good to go. So leave that set overnight. Okay. Lovely. Okay, leave that to sit and we'll finish this bottom bit tomorrow. Thanks for watching. We'll be back to finish it off. Well, back again for the last, hi all, back again for the last little bit. Yeah, I took the pleasure of beforehand, clean up the tools, get rid of the old glues, so we're starting this session with all clean tools and no glue build up. Make sure this is nice and clean of old glue, and got myself a screwdriver and so on. So this gets a little bit more tricky. So what we've got to do is we've got to get some glue in these edges here, around, so that we can glue down this last bit. But let's go and let's get stuck in. Right, it'll be a little bit more fiddly than before, because obviously we've got to work around some of this trim, but we'll just peel it back a little bit like that, so that we can get the adhesive in there. Right, let's open up the adhesive. And here goes. Of course, be careful not to spill it everywhere, it's terrible stuff. Alright, let's get in there. Now it might pay even to just use a screwdriver like that, because you only want a little bit along these edges, but could use that, or try our applicator. A little bit on there, we don't want much along these edges, just do the same thing, get our adhesive on there, let it get tacky, and apply. So we want some on that surface, all these surfaces along here. So yeah, you can see, probably easier to use a good old screwdriver. A little bit on there, Watch our fabric, of course. We don't want to get on any on there because that'll be the right pain. And get some on there, don't want too much. Work it around the other edges. Get it in there. I don't have a better applicator really. This will have to do. Wipe any excess away, we don't want too much in there. We're going to have to follow the contour of this lip because this is where our little access door goes for the hard top to undo its mounting so we can get the hard top off. There we go. Don't forget this other surface, not just this bottom one but the back one. There we go, on there. Don't want loads of it. Okay, working around to this other bit. Let's just right in there. So there we go. Make sure you put some on this little around the bottom of the this pivot point or the hinge. I'm going to wrap a little bit of the fabric around there. Make sure that we have some right in the groove in there. Can't really see very well, but we're in the bottom corner. Okay. And there we have it. Okay, so we'll leave that. It's all applied in all of the grooves in there. Just make sure, a couple of spots. Around this bit of the hinge too. We will be wrapping the fabric around that. And the hinge, pivot point hinge, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to wrap around that. Okay. So for the moment, let's leave that to sit and get nice and tacky for the next 5 to 10 minutes. I want this to be nice and tacky because got to go around all these contours. We want it to stick. So I'm going to let this get a bit more tacky than normal to make sure that she sticks at that point. All right, well, I'll see you back shortly. Well, hello everyone. I took the liberty of finishing it off. So what I did was glued all around. Here we are, glued all around these edges, and as you can see, folded the fabric over. All around the sides, cut out around here, and make sure you cut out that hole there. A little bit tricky. So essentially when you lay it out, make sure you get your finger on this groove, and once all the glue's nice and tacky, just run your thumb or your finger along there, because you want it to sit in. You want to cover the hinge or the pivot point like that for the little door, and just push it back a little bit, and just rub your fingers along there so it fits right in the groove there, all the way around, and just keep working it in the grooves like this. One of the things I did was just two of my hands just worked around the piece like that, and just keep working it in so that follows the contour of this shape here. It's important because this is where your little hatch or door goes on this trim. Till she's nice in place. There we go. Alright. And you make sure cover your pivot points properly. That one. Where is it? And that one. Alright. And of course we've got to cut out this bit for our latch. Alright, and so you end up with something like this. Folded over all the edges. And don't just glue on the top here, glue on the back, so as you pull it around, it's down there. So again, you grab the edge and just give it a lot of pressure to push it down. Alright, so it's all in place, and that's the end. And then you wrap that little piece around the hinge, pivot point there, and the same with that. Wrap a little bit around there so that's all covered, because once you put the little door on, you won't see it. Alright, so that's the piece done. Alright, follows all the contours. Okay, and then what I do is just go around and clean up these bits of fabric so we don't have too much overhanging, and just cut some of this excess fabric off. Don't need it, why have it there? And just clean up these little bits. Alright, and that's kind of it. And so when you put your, where is it? Back in a second. So what will happen is when you put your door in place, sorry mine's a bit dusty, she's going to look something like that. There you are. Sorry, I'll clean it up and later on, give it a vacuum or something, get all this dust off. But that's kind of how she's going to look. Now, one of the things we need to worry about, I'll just put that aside. This little hole here, we need to make sure that's quite clear, because we've got this little latch. And what it has, well, here, you've got this side here. And now, if you have too much foam on the inside of the hole, it will impact on how this latch works. So when you push it down, it stays down. When you push it back up, up she comes and releases the door. And that's how it works on the back of this panel. It goes over this little hook there, like so. Put it on there, it's got hold, push it again, releases the door. That's how it works. So you've got to make sure that this hole is clear of any foam or anything that can affect this working, because it kind of rubs on here. Not a great design, but that's what happens, I found on my other one. So you just got to make sure it's got a good access in it. It just simply pops in place. Bit of a tight fit. Might need to cut a bit more foam out of that. I'll just use a sharp pair of scissors just to cut some of that away. You won't see it, of course, once you put that latch in. Okay. You can even use a knife Watch your fingers, of course. Just clear out that foam and any glue. Just scrape it around the edge, I do. Alright. There we go, and that just simply pops in the hole. Just simply pushes in. And looks like that. Dust on it. And that's it. And that should work freely. There you go. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so you push it in and release. Can't quite see very well. There we go. Push it in, release, and it should work that easy. So once you put the door on, that'll work just fine. It just sticks through just like that. You won't see any of this, of course, because this is going to be on the back of the car, and that's how she goes. All right, and that's kind of it. And then really, and just get rid of that. Clean up some of the excess bits of foam. There's a bit much there. Doesn't really matter, but I'll just try and clean up a bit of it. Don't need that extra foam, why have it? Don't need, alright. That'll do. And there we have it. All done. Alright. And the light goes in the slot like that. That'll clip in, of course, but yeah, that's how she goes in there. And the door, the little latch you've got to do sort of like from the inside. You put one end on first. Got to be careful not to snap one end, so you've got to kind of like bend it a bit. See, it's too far, so you've got to kind of like bend it a bit to get it to go on. And that. There you are, just like that. And so now, once you close this, there you are. That's how it works. And when you press that, it'll open up. Alright, and that's it. That's how to reupholster this C-pillar. So you have the light in place. There we go. Like that. The door in place. It opens up. Mine's a little bit tight because remember, my foam's thicker than the original foam, but I like that anyway. It gives it a bit more. Just makes it a little bit nicer. All right, that's so that's how you do the C-pillars on a E46 M3 convertible. You'd be able to do the same on even on a non-M3 convertible hardtop. This is how you do it, regardless of M3 or not. Thank you for watching, and hopefully this has been of some use to some people. You may do it in a different, perhaps in a slightly different way than I've done it, but nonetheless it gives you an idea of how to do it. You might lay the fabric in a different pattern or start at a different spot or whatever you wish, compared to what I've done. Thank you for watching, and hopefully some people find this useful. Thanks for watching. Bye.